How many people are there yesterday? Why you didn't like the class yesterday? Or you want? Okay. How many first timers today? Hath khada karo. Okay. So that way, then I will focus more for the newcomers. I will just tell you the general part, and for the then I will quickly get into more of a questions if we have. Okay, will that be okay? If you have some questions, right? Especially for the guys who are today new. To tell you that the importance of the interview lies in the fact that it makes a final merit of yours. You add your written tests and the marks of the written test, and then the marks of the interview will constitute the final merit list. So many a times what happens is that you may get good marks in the written test, but if you have not performed well in the interview, you will not get it. Or if you performed well in the interview and you still not got good marks in the written test, you still not make it. It's a combination of it. So with this ambiguity, what happens is that just many people leave it to chances. Because I have done my best as far as my mains are concerned. Mujhe pass hai jayi kichhi asubidha nahi. Sei jai dekhi deba. Pachar deba general question to pacharibe kon ante pacharibe. So I find many people who come for the interviews are either not fully prepared or they are partially prepared. And one of the reasons is that why they are not fully or not partially fully prepared is that they do not know what to prepare. The question remains कि कौन पचारिवे question. जहाँ पचे everything you open up your internet, you open up this thing, एत्ते तुमको जिनसे तादर मिलिवो. Okay, you get absolutely totally confused. But the fundamental thing of any interview lies is that we want to see whether the basic understanding of a particular individual is there or not, number one. And number two, how much he is fitting into the organization or the role that we are looking for. If you are taking him to a government servant as in the administration cadre, obviously we are looking at people with an overall understanding of various situations per se. And we'll also like people with certain amount of leadership qualities and ability to respond. So when you look at this dynamics, for the person who were not present yesterday, essentially we look at 5 qualities. They are called 5 personality attributes in a candidate. So somebody who attended yesterday, can somebody repeat those 5 qualities?
Power of comprehension.
Okay, just say others. Power of
comprehension.
Just say all of you, power of comprehension. Number 2?
Power of expression.
Power of expression. Number 2. Okay, good. Number 3? Say.
Leadership quality.
Leadership qualities. General awareness and
reaction to emergency situation.
Okay, response to emergency situations. Okay, emergency situation. So these are the 5 qualities, personality attributes that we are looking into. Right? There could be some other thing that will come up, but 80% of your questions, your quality that we are looking for is basically forming of this nature. Now, how do we start assessing all these people? Is that there is something with us called your, we call it DAF in UPSC, you call it here CI. What is that called? Full form CIF is? Okay, they changed the name. I think my time was different. Okay. So there is a form in which you fill up, you give out your details. Okay. Amazingly, you will find that a very large number of questions to the tune of, sometimes to the tune of 30 to 40%, okay, comes from this CIF. It's slightly less in OS, what I have seen, but in UPSC I have seen this is on an average is 40% plus, sometimes goes to 50%. And people do the mistake of not preparing from the CIF. CIF in your case is something what you have written yourself, isn't it? You have filled up your own data. So the first and foremost principle is that how you must master the CIF. I was telling your organizers that this is something which you must tell people, a separate class on how to master the CIF. Now just to tell you what to master the CIF is that, when you enter into an interview, you are supposed to make an introduction to yourself. Okay, some people tell you introduce yourself, or somebody might just ask you straight away, okay, you are from so-and-so, you are from so-and-so. But by and large, the correct protocol is that, okay, please, as you come inside, okay, you sit down and you say, okay, you are so-and-so, so-and-so, it's okay. But some people say, okay, can you just introduce yourself? Very short. I am so-and-so, I am so-and-so. Okay. Are they still using, I don't know, have you got a feedback whether you are supposed to tell your name or not? Have you got any feedback? कि इंटरव्यू जो पचारे तो ना कहबो के नहीं. Have you got any feedback? No. Okay. Well, I can tell you my experience is that I have stopped this procedure when I was in PSC, that nobody should tell his name. Okay. And also the father's name. We are supposed to start off without anything. But in UPSC, we don't do that. We allow people to tell their name. The difference is because here in a state, what happens is that people who come for the interviews, boards, etc., they tend to know the people. Okay. Kaha puo, kaha jio, kaha bhai, kaha bhoni, this, that. Okay. So many things are there. It's just at the UPSC level, it doesn't work out much because it's a very large, we really don't know who goes into whose board per se. But if they allow you to tell your name out here, you just say, I'm so-and-so, falana karke. This is one of the most important things. If they tell you, kindly introduce yourself. That the first thing is the expression of a personality as to how you express yourself. It's not merely saying that, sir, I am, Dinesh Purana Kaun. That I am Mr. Dinesh Biswal. If they say, sir, please introduce yourself, you say, I am Dinesh Biswal. And so far, whatever you have achieved in life, okay, including education, you convey. A right way of introducing yourself is, I am Dinesh Biswal. Okay. I studied at so-and-so school, I studied at so-and-so college. Okay. If I had done some service after that, so-and-so. Okay. My native village is so-and-so. No requirement to go, ki more etiki bhai, more etiki bhauni, more etiki so-and-so, so-and-so. We just want to know your educational profile. Okay. If they tell you there's some achievement, if you have got any achievements, you can tell. Otherwise, you start with introduction first. Now, this is a very important element. You have to practice that. I am, say, Dinesh Biswal. So, I studied in name of the school, full school. It's not that I studied in, but I studied in so-and-so. I studied in so-and-so school from so-and-so to so-and-so year. Then I moved on to do my graduation, okay, or +2 or my graduation. from this year to this year. My subject during graduation was this, okay, and so on and so forth. After that, sir, I have decided to appear for the civil services, and since then I am preparing. Or after that, I was working at place A, B, C, D, and then now I have decided to so and so. A quick 4 to 5 sentences within a matter of just about a minute and a half must come like a bullet, so that the interviewing officers get to know as to who you are. That's the introduction. If they don't ask you to give an introduction, forget about it. Then the ball is in their court. Getting my point? Ball in their court. But your introduction should be absolutely perfect. So usually what happens is then your CIF is lying with the chairman of the board. Is okay, you have studied in so-and-so school, you belong to Balangir. Acha. How long have you studied in Balangir? Now, can you tell me that, some time back, Balangir was known for its kingly dynasties which ruled Odisha, and or for that matter, Balangir has given so many chief ministers to Odisha, or Balangir is supposed to be one time a rice bowl of Odisha, and so on and so forth. In nutshell, your knowledge of your district, the knowledge of your village, the knowledge of your tehsil or block, it should be on your fingertips. The question might just come, oh, you belong to Balangir. Can you tell us something about Balangir? A general question. A general question, can you tell something about Balangir? Now here, to answer this, Balangir is a district which is located on the northwestern part of Odisha, and so on. Now, if you are a smart fellow, you would have studied, sir, it is approximately so many square kilometers, its population is so and so. Okay, it has got mostly these tribes which basically stay here. Okay, its centers are so and so, and is so and so. Again, 4 to 5 lines of your district. Because samane pacharchanti, they are asking something which is your district. They are not asking of Dhankala district. So if that answer you are not able to tell properly, then they will not view it properly in the correct manner it's supposed to be. This shows your personality, ability to go into details. Say for instance, I was telling yesterday, okay, I said I've studied Revensa College. Okay. Can you tell me something about Mr. T. Revensa? It's not necessary. If you say, sir, he was the founder, he so and so, I know so and so T. Revensa, it's okay. But if you say, sir, T. Revensa is that he was the founder of so and so, he came to India, he was basically administrator, then he became an academician. During so and so to so and so period, he was the principal of the Revensa College. During his time, the Revensa College grew from a small district to so and so place. He was one of the big, and he himself was so and so. I'm just giving you a little example. Or you study in Ramadevi College. Can you tell me something about Ramadevi, please? So that time, don't think, who is Ramadevi? Okay. So name of your institution, on whose name it is made, that's very important. The place you belong to. Okay. I've seen many people even ask, okay, you belong to Sambalpur, or Sambalpur you belong to Burla. Now tell me something about Burla. Now all of us know in Burla we have engineering college, we have so-and-so college and so-and-so, but that is not what it is like. So tame jo jagaru asithibo, okay, your place, your village, your academic institution and so-and-so, right? You must tell them conveyed to the board in a very, very profound and a distinct and a deliberate manner. So what happens is that in one go, you have conveyed your level of confidence, your level of ability to go into details, your level that you know your subject quite well. Because interview is nothing but impression. If you feel that this candidate, yes, when you answer such questions in a very, very confident and deliberate manner, the board start feeling very, very positive vibes. And they start thinking, oh, this candidate, yes, I think we need to take this candidate, we need to take this candidate. It is not purely based upon your answers, it's a feeling that you generate in the board. And that feeling comes with your ability to answer questions in the manner supposed to be. Then that sheet has got details of your achievements. Achievements that you have in school. I participated in debate, and you written down that I won the debate competition, or I represented the school in football, or I played cricket. My hobby is collecting stamps or writing poetry, right? And so on and so forth. Be prepared to have questions from there in sufficient manner. Say, for instance, you participate in a debate, you are quite likely to ask you what is the topic of the debate. At that time, you don't start thinking, sir, I have actually forgotten what is the topic of the debate. Because we don't expect you, if you have done it in a college, it's just 3-4 years back, okay, to forget something, an achievement that you nije lekhicho, ki mu debate re first heitili, second heitili, that you start forgetting. You may have actually forgotten, but then it gives an impression to the board that possibly he is not telling the truth. हमको impression management को पे से लिखी दीजिए. So you are creating a doubt in the board mind. So if you actually participated in a debate, be prepared as to what that particular debate theme was. And be prepared also to answer, can you tell us what are your views on that? So let's say, instance, your debate was women empowerment. It's essential for the nation's growth. And you won first prize. Now tell us something about women empowerment. Because set out a topic tame nije padithilo. Can you tell us the women leaders of the women empowerment in the country? So it's a question. So what I want to say is that tamara jaha tame lekhicho, whatever you've written in your CIF, you must master that. If you say I'm fond of reading books, you should know what books have you read. And you should be prepared to say the theme of one or two books also. ଯଦି ବହି ପଢ଼ିନ, don't write. People have a tendency to write fewer books. Some who Robin Samara ପଢ଼ିଥିଲି, ୟାର ପଢ଼ିଥିଲି, say few was those books which are very popular for your well-being books, such as self-improvement books. Article nowadays they are trained to write books related to Ramayana, mythology, and so on so kariki. Devdutt Patnaik. There is no harm in writing books which are related to self-improvement or religion. But then if you have read it, for God's sake, remember as to what contents in that book. Because you are quite likely to be asked a question, can you tell me if you read this book, what is the theme of it? It may have that one of the members of the board have also read it. Because one of the biggest disadvantage of interview is that if you are caught telling a lie. Ludo khelcho, Ludo. You all play Ludo? Yes or no? तादरे गोटे साप थियो गोटे सीढ़ी थिबो, isn't it? You keep playing like this, and you are there 96, 97 ଗୋଟେ ସାପ ଥାଏ ସବୁବେଳେ, and it will bring you down to 6, 7, 8 something. It's like that. You may be doing very well, but ଥରେ ତମେ ଧରା ପଡ଼ିଗଲ, ତମେ ମିଛ କଥା କହୁଛ, ଫ୍ୟାବ୍ରିକେଟ୍ କରୁଛ, ଓକେ, ସେ ସାପ ଗିଳିଲା ତୋଳ ପଳେଇ ଆସିବ ଏକାଥରେ. Now to rise again, there will be no time for you. ଆଉ ଟାଇମ୍ ନଥିବ ଇଣ୍ଟରଭ୍ୟୁ ବୋର୍ଡ଼ରେ. But ବେଳେବେଳେ କ'ଣ ହୁଏ, you actually don't want to tell a lie, but there is a fear of failure. ମୁଁ ନ କହିବି ମୁଁ ଫେଲ୍ ହେଇଯିବି, ମାର୍କ ମିଳିବନି. Okay, I will tell something to impress the board. And mind you, the moment you start telling something to impress the board, or start fabricating thing or telling lie, your non-verbal gestures are such that we are able to catch it. We say कि ये पिलाटी पे कोर्ची, he is now making it. Sometimes when you do this and tell something not very correct, you don't penalize you. But if you ଜାଣି ଶୁଣି ତମେ ଯଦି ଗୋଟେ ମିଛ କଥା କହିଲ, okay, say for instance you said that I have read 3 books and you have not read a single book, then what comes into question is integrity. At least in UPSC, I recollect we have penalized a lot of people purely in integrity. सीधा फेल कर दीचु. Maybe this person would have gone with 160, 170. We have given them as low as 80, 90. Can you imagine? So that you never be again clear. Because you don't want such people with lack of integrity in the service. So, point to drive home is that don't tell a lie, especially on something that you've written. Hai nahi. So my hobby is singing. I say, what type of singing you do? Do you do some classical singing? No, sir. Do you do some modern singing something? No, sir. Then what singing? No, sir, I do bathroom singing, sir. Sir, I only do singing bathroom. Then why the hell have you written as a hobby? Is your hobby go to bathroom singing? So it may be laughable and this thing, but what has happened is you have conveyed a very poor impression onto the board. This guy doesn't know what a hobby is all about. So कोच मुझे bathroom में गाऊँची, that's my hobby. You understanding the difference? Okay. So coming back to your mastering of the CIF is that everything that is there has to be gone through. You must go through them. Prepare as to how you are going to be confronting those particular questions which are related to your CIF. Prepare them, write them. Don't leave it to this thing. You may feel it very boring, but write them. Introduction to Neki, ye to Neki, ye to Neki, what is my achievement, so and so. In the CIF, sometimes, there are a lot of things, gaps. So, you are given a gap. 3 ବର୍ଷ 4 ବର୍ଷ gap ରହିଯାଇଛି. Okay, you are working somewhere, you are written out, then there is a gap. The fear is, ମୋତେ ପଚାରି ଦେବେ କି ସେ gap ଟା କାହିଁକି ହେଲା, ମୁଁ କ'ଣ ପଚାରିବି, କ'ଣ answer କରିବି. So whatever you have to give an answer, you have to prepare them properly and give a very convincing answers. Don't be apologetic कि ମୁଁ 2 ବର୍ଷ 3 ବର୍ଷ ଛାଡ଼ି ଦେଇଛି, so what? You have left it for preparation. How does it matter? Or you left it for a medical case, or you left it for domestic reasons. ମୋ ବାପାଙ୍କ ଦେହ ଖରାପ ଥିଲା, ମାଆଙ୍କ ଦେହ ଖରାପ ଥିଲା, ଅମକ ଦେହ ଥିଲା, ଠିକ୍ ଅଛି, କିଛି ଅସୁବିଧା ନାହିଁ. You'll be surprised that many a times these are taken very positively. Because in today's world we find that here is a boy or a girl who have been able to sacrifice 2 years of his career looking after his parents who was ill. We start actually evaluating those people in a much better person than a person who is just giving answers and answers. Knowledge khali koi chalchi na. We still feel, we give more amount of weightage to people जे कि कहे कि हाँ मुझे रही मोर हैड नो चॉइस मो बापा माँ नथिले मो बापा माँ तांकर किसी इनकम नथिला एंड मु मो सान भौणी को पढ़ेबा थिला सो आई टुक ए ब्रेक सर ताको पढ़ेली सब करेली नाउ सी ओके सो एंड सो आई हैड टू डू सम सैक्रिफाइस मते दीटा काम मु करि पर नथांती to look after my parents and look after so and so. Be absolutely genuine to yourself. There was a girl, I recollect in 2021 or 22, I think, UPSC. She was good. But somehow I was feeling that she has got a little more spark upon it's not able to come out. The board is not able to pick up this thing. She was running around in the range of 160, 170, 160 range. UPSC is 275 by the way. Just last few minutes I left, I asked her, tell me, Beta, what does your father do? And she responded with so much of enthusiasm and so much of zeal and josh ki sir, my father is a machwara. She is a girl from Kerala. Macha dhauchandi se keuta jakon ko. Acha, very nice. So how do you help your father? Then sir, I help in so and so, I help in so and so. Most important is that my father is not well. I take the boat myself and do it. I said, are you do it yourself? Just to check whether she is telling the truth or not. I said, can you tell me how to oar a boat? And so on, so a lot of questions we ask just to confirm. Say, bhool coaching, take coaching, bhool coach. And we actually found out that she was having the courage to go out in the seas when the sea was high, when the father was not well, and do the fishing herself. She had two children, two young siblings. All this revelation came in the last 3-4 minutes of the interview. Tuck. And we found that her inner quality was so good. Papa ko dekhbhal korchi, bhai dekhbhal korchi, yer dekhbhal korchi. He respects his parents. He doesn't have mention. All बहुत थरा जदि बापा ठीक ठाक चाकरी करना थी, मु देखुची पिला माने लुचे दियंती. No, he is a father. So the respect for father, पिलाटर अच्छी कि नहीं, that is a personality. And do you know, after just interaction of 3.5 minutes, the entire board agreed to lift her to 190 from she was living 116. So we gave her nearly 20 marks plus in last 3 minutes. And she made it to the IAS. So they are the dynamics of interviews. There is nothing standard. It's, as I told you, it's the feelings. Similarly in OS also I have seen during my time in PSC is that many times people just impressed by the sheer nature of their truthfulness and honesty. So coming back to what I was trying to tell you on the issue of knowing your CIF is that please go through them thoroughly because you will get almost on an average 30% of the questions in some form or the other. We'll see all this thing, okay, you've done your, our graduation was physics, okay. Somebody will be for physics. Can you tell us who is the, who was the Nobel Prize for the physics winner for the last year? Or your optional is geography. Can you tell us, geography to padicha? Okay, now can you tell us something about geography of Odisha? Can you tell us why disasters are taking place and so on so? So you start getting quickly questions from there itself. So if your optional is geography, say for instance, start thinking more कौन question मते पचारिबे optional रू. Put yourself in the shoes of a interviewing officer. You'll automatically get to know कि मते कौन question पचारिबे. If my optional is psychology or sociology, okay, put yourself in the shoes of interview officer कि कौन question पचार परिबे. You will not go wrong. Let me tell you, 50% of your appreciated questions you may likely will be asked. So this is called reading the CIF. And what is it that can be asked? You getting my point? Coming back to those points which I reiterated yesterday in terms of power of understanding, is that whenever questions are being asked to you, try to understand the questions in the correct form it is. Many times you may not be able to understand the question. That's not your fault, because there is a level of anxiety which is working in you. There is a level of nervousness which is working in you. So when such things happens, okay, I will not go into the science of neuroplasticity and neurosurgeon in this, okay. But what happens is that your frontal lobe actually stops functioning and getting a shield. And since you are on an examination test mode, there is also a fear and flight syndrome which is there. So, even if somebody is trying to tell you, have you ever seen somebody, nijo ko bhaba, ki sometimes when you get angry, in a state of anger, jodi au pila gote kichu katha kahuchi, you are not listening to that fellow. He is talking, but you are not ready to listen. It happens because those neuron brains start taking over other elements for which you are unable to understand or comprehend the coach, even if he is telling the own rational people. That's why they say never take decision when you are angry. This point of movement, that when you are angry, you move into a world of delusion. From delusion, you go into lack of decision, wrong decision making, and then goes to disaster. It is not a psychological thing. Do you know where it is written? How you go into bad decision making and you make a disaster to yourself? Can somebody say, Koti lekhai cheta? Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, 36, verse 36. The path of anger to delusion, to disillusionment, to so and so bad decision making is written Bhagavad Gita. So present neuroscience is trying to come out with scientific theories. So coming back to your stage, what you're talking of is, tame to bosses are saying, if I'm in the interview board, you are just thinking, mate kon question pacharibe, kon karibe, mu kahi paribi ki na kahi paribi. Mind gula jinsa chalu chi. So your mind is in a different state. So many a times, tame question suncho but suno na. Or you're trying to interpret it yourself. Let's say somebody asks you ki, okay, pachar dele ki, let's say you are prepared the budget for this year. The Odisha budget is so salient aspects. The moment the interviewing officer start asking ki something about budget question asigala. But he is actually not asking you the budget. He is asking you something related to budget, but he may be asking you, tell me, is the economic policy of government of Odisha correct in meeting, in eradication of poverty? तो मैं सीधा सुन लो नहीं, तब budget सुन देला, because budget prepare करचो. But he is not asking you budget. So understanding, comprehending a question, okay, is so important. Because from here, will start your answer. तमें क्वेश्चन बुझी पारिबनी ठीक ठाक, okay, न सुन पारिलो, your answers will be wrong. The second aspect that I was telling you is that your answer has to be what you call power of expression. Is it has to be logical, it has to be sequential, simple, and to the point. Good, I am very happy you remembered this. Keep these 4 principles of mind as far as power of expression is concerned. So, whether your answer is meeting all these 4 requirements or not, you try yourself. निजे try करो कि आउ को सांग सहित बसिक करो. Today you have recording devices, there is not a problem. You ask yourself a question, get it recorded in the in a mobile, सुन ताकू. And if it is meeting the 4 requirements, ना तमको निजे भल लगे सुनिया पे. Nobody else. When you listen your own answer, you like yourself. हाँ एटा मत सुनो. जेंति गोटे भल गीत सुनिया को भल लगे. Okay. सेमिति तमे भल जदि आंसर देछ, तमे से आंसर टा तुमको सुनिया भल लागिवो. And if you are not enjoying your own answer, let me tell you, you can infer that your answer is not meeting the 4 requirement. You try this. गीत सुनला कि सब गीत न भल लगे कि? You definitely, songs are supposed to have a tune, but whether the tune is matching to your requirement or not, okay. You listen to English song, let us take it. All of us speak English, but 90% of you will not enjoy an English song. But तुम हिंदी उड़ा क्लासिका क्या तुम भल लगी वो? Though you may not be speaking in Hindi. Generally, तुम ओडिया रे कथा होचा, कि ये रे कथा होचा, इंग्लिश रे कथा होचा. But ओडिया की तो सुन ले न भले, पर तो हिंदी की तो तुम भल लगी वो. And if you analyze the songs of Hindi movie songs, which is actually played with lot of deliberations, it doesn't happen like this. You read the life, I have read the biography of R.D. Burman. He writes ki how to churn out one particular movie song. They undergo so much of research and tension. It doesn't happen like this. So anything which is harmonious in nature and life, you enjoy listening. Similarly, your answers should be very, very pleasing. And that pleasingness and harmonious nature of your answer can only come when you follow these 4 principles. And this answer, this particular thing comes with lot of practice. Now tell me, when I am talking to you, are you able to understand most of the things which I am trying to tell you, yes or no?
Yes.
Do you find it pleasing to listen? Not because it has got an impact of her exam, but do you find it nice to hear or not? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Relieving. Well, this has not come overnight. This is a culmination of experience, reading, knowledge, which culminates and then it comes out in a very, very simple form when I speak to you. For reasons I didn't narrate that verse of the Gita in Sanskrit to you, because it would have taken you into a different form altogether, because this is not a well-being class. But I just wanted to convey to you that this sequential process of anything which is very, very harmonious in nature is something which is pleasing and which is something which you have to convey to the board. Because ultimately they have to get satisfied that this boy is good. So these 2 fundamental aspects of an interview, that is your power of comprehension and your power of expression, which are basically your power, are important for you to do well in the interview. these two attributes plus your knowledge of your CIF can give you 60 to 70% of the success, let me tell you this. If you have mastered this much, you can forget about not doing well. You will definitely do well. The third comes general awareness. General awareness is something very essential we want to test you, because as administrators, we want people to be knowing everything that is on earth and planet. You'll ask me, sir, this is impossible. I also know it's impossible. But there is a method in the madness. When I say general awareness in examination context, it would mean mostly current affairs, okay, happenings which are taking place on the national level and the international level, certain things which are related to your optionals, and certain things which are related to your domain subjects in your graduation and post-graduation. And maybe if you have not been asked during your CIF about your home, your village, your district, and so on, so it also will form part of general awareness. So here you have to be smart enough to find out how much I must study in what, because this is again a very, very vast subject. As a cardinal principle, you got to be thorough on all national and international events that has taken place, right? At least for the last 2 years. Even if you write for 2 years, the volume will be so much that you can't this thing. So start squeezing. Come to important things. In that, since you're in the state, going to be state services, you ought to know about the state also. State policy, state issues, challenges of the state. People from the state who have made us proud, like old scholars like Gopabandhu Das and the 5 Maharathis that we have, and so on and so forth. Some major people from the state, in any field for the matter, whether sports, culture, cinema, so on, so on. And if you make a list of all the important people of the state, okay, put that list to about 20 odd people and write 2 to 3 lines for each. You may be asked a question, tell me something about Madhu Babu. Either you know too much about Madhu Babu or you may not be knowing too much, because he is not a person being talked about every day. You just heard that Madhu Babu, Madhusudan Das was a lawyer and so on and so forth. But that's okay for a general. If I ask you, tell me something about Madhusudan Das. Sir, he was a lawyer, he was part of the freedom movement and so on, so on, so on. Okay, this is a normal question if I have to ask you as a conversation. But if I have been asked in the interview board, will these 2 lines give me the right amount of answer marks that I am looking for? Because the very fact that I am asking you, tell me about Madhusudan Das, I want you to know something, find out whether this candidate really knows something about a person who has dedicated so much for the creation of Odisha. So, you need to know something about these illuminaries and speak out in the correct manner. Suppose Madhusudan Das Kaur. Biju Patnaik is known as a legend. Why is Biju Patnaik known as a legend of Odisha? Can you tell me something, some of his achievements? I'm not asking the answers. I'm just giving an example. Okay, it is for you to formulate the answers and keep it. Why is Biju Patnaik a legend? because he is a combination of personality. He was part of the freedom movement. He was an ace pilot. He was involved in the rescue of Sukarno of Indonesia, and so on and so forth. Then he was very close to the Congress party. He was so and so. He had been twice chief minister. He was a great industrialist. He was a visionary, and so on and so forth. But if you want to tell something about Biju Patnaik, if you have not prepared and written 5 lines on him, okay, it's very difficult to recollect at that point of time. But interview board okay, sometimes you forget, unless you are prepared. So the trick of the trade is that if these luminaries which are of Odisha, you feel that important and you got to know about it, please prepare them. Including a small thing like Naveen Patnaik, the longest serving chief minister for 25 years, not a small thing. Can you tell me about something about Naveen Patnaik's long-term chief minister? What is your opinion on him? Don't start saying, say, he was a good man, he was a good chief minister, and so on, so on, so on. Tell something about how he has taken the state from, his biggest contribution is that in 2000, early part when he took it, Odisha was absolutely had no money. It had no money to even pay salaries to his government servants. But when he left, this state was a revenue surplus state. It's the only state in the country which is a revenue surplus state. So this is a huge thing to take out to bring a state from absolutely poverty state, okay, to a revenue surplus state in 25 years' time. It's not a small achievement. Then he brought in sports, he brought in infrastructure development, he constructed roads, he constructed so and so. So you may like to just put 8 to 10 lines of the achievements of Naveen Patnaik and keep it readily available with you. Because they are the luminaries of the state. You are going to be state government this thing. So similarly, since you are going to join the state services, you may not be asked too much about various at the national level and international level, but then be prepared something on the state. State has developed many things. You see, one of the major things, various schemes that the state government has made. Our Biju Swasthya Yojana, the government helped this thing. It is a unique one which started. Subhadra, after Rajasthan, were the second one for the women empowerment. There are a couple of these schemes which the government has made, which is very unique. So please prepare and be absolutely forceful in saying, sir, this is one of the best schemes that has been conducted. Also, can you tell me some features about this particular thing? Yes, sir. So and so, so and so. Yesterday, I think I told, if you have to explain about Subhadra, you tell what it is like. If you have to tell about a scheme, please tell the full thing about it. So what is the trick of the trade? Pick up about 10 to 15 schemes of the state government in the last 4, 5 years, 10 years that has taken place. Please make points out of that. What does it involve? Don't make more than 5 points. Let me tell you this. Any answer that you make, prepare for interview, don't make more than 5 points because the money is beyond that. Because whatever you have to say, tamko interview re, you just have to recollect just 1 or 2 points. Then you can manage the third point. Okay. But if you cannot recollect any point, then you are just thinking and trying to make points. The fourth thing that we are coming across is your leadership. Here in this leadership, we would like to see that how you as a young deputy collector or a young SP or a young ADM or a young forest officer, no, forest is not part of you now. Okay. How are you conduct yourself? We will ask situational questions to you. Both leadership and situational emergencies are by and large combined. Say you are ADM of a district, what advice will you give to a collector? There is a crisis, if there is an epidemic which has taken place. Or you have gone to a particular place you have gone the other side, suddenly ratire flood asigala. Okay, you have gone on a tour, pura flood asila, and your bridge has been washed away. You are not able to come. How will you handle that thing? There are so many day-to-day situations you face. तब ब्लॉक रे suddenly वर्षा है गला और पूरा entire crops have gone for a waste. The farmers are creating an agitation कि हमको किसी सब government support दियो. How will you handle it? गोटे ओडिया picture आस्थिले ना regarding malaria. से कौन कला? All that he did was found a small solution, mosquito net. Okay, कि समस्त mosquito net केंती मशारी केंती समस्त को इश्यू होबो, मशारी तेलो केंती होबो, ता पे केते जे ताको लड़े पड़ला for the young collector to the system. So this is where your leadership and your situational awareness questions come into play. Getting my point? Yes or no?
Yes.
So coming back to what I mentioned to you is that preparing of a CIF is very important. Preparing these 5 attributes of the personality which I mentioned to you, very important. Please make notes of national, international and state events. Okay, if you got time, depending upon whatever you got, at least make answer to about 100 odd questions that you feel likely probable questions. Nijje lekho to nijje hathar lekho. And keep preparing over it. And if you find deficiency of any of these qualities that I mentioned to you, time is too less, you can't become a speaker overnight, you can't become a so-and-so kariki. But then you can always refine your answers, what you give by preparing yourself, sitting across the mirror, सांग पाखर बस, बापा पाखर बस, कहा पाखर बस, कि बापा शुणु मो कथा कि भाई अच्छे मत शुण, let me sit down. If you got access to mock interviews, do that, but don't get into a trap of doing too many mock interviews also, because many times I've seen the guidance given by the people who do mocks are not adequate. Sometimes they give you wrong directions. So we generally don't appreciate, encourage much of mocks. What is going to help you is, तम्मे निजे को कितने prepare करुचो. Because ultimately you going to answer the questions. You going to appear for the board. Okay? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Now you can shoot questions if you have.
First taking mentioned anger, delusion, then just
Anger.
delusion,
Anger leads you to
delusion,
delusion. Delusion leads you to disappointment. Okay. Disappointment leads you to, because you disappointment more expect कर लेला नहीं. Okay. Then it leads to lack of decision, because you take wrong decision, and then obviously leads to disaster. So when Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says that anger is like a fire which can destroy everything. But many times, we feel कि जतपन I'm not ragichu, amar mardani nahi. I'm not a man. Some people will tell you, oh, तुमको साला तुमसे तो गुस्सा नहीं आता यार, क्या आदमी है तुम? Yes, sometimes little anger is required just to convey a point of view. This thing. But then the anger is to immediately doused and move into the next. Even I, as a young officer, do you know that I had a background from the army? Yes or no? You know or not? No, don't know. I'm an infantry officer. I'm a fighter. I'm not a this thing. I fought all my life. I've got bullets here. Okay, I used to also be angry when I was a young officer. That's part of the game, But the fact lies is that don't take anger beyond a particular level. because getting angry to win, a competition, that's not anger, that's developing a spirit per se, right? But this is a disaster the moment you get into an anger mode. You get a spirit to fight. I've cleared my written test, I've come all the way. Now I've got to clear. This is something which I have to clear. And as I told you, that if you don't prepare well, even a minor difference of 5 to 10 marks, okay, can make a difference whether to get OS or some other service, or may not even make it also. 5 to 10 marks only, not even more than that. Let me tell you this. So prepare this. So without preparation, if you go, okay, you will definitely, most likely not going to do well. Okay, you can ask any questions now. Yeah. Sir, already लिखी दी चौकी चांस नहीं, you already submitted. अच्छा. अच्छा, you are not submitted so far? Okay, okay. Achha, then good, because in UPSC we ask you them to submit much in advance.
Yes.
Okay. The DAF is given in advance. It's a good thing. So be very diligent when you write. Don't write things which you have not written, first and foremost. Kitche korina, not to worry, because we understand that as a school marker, ette facility do not have hobbies. Like I studied in a residential school, public school, so I had access to a lot of hobbies per se. Okay. Actually, it's not there. School rep field nahi, kheliya ko ye nahi. We all know, let me tell you, we're not lost a hair and become great just like that. Okay. We all know. And you are like a children when you look at the board per se. So we know the difficulties of the education system. Okay. So when it's a hobby is what? Hobby is something which you do in leisure. But you do it in a very routine and regular way. It's not that once in a while mu bathroom bachma gitta hoga ichha hala. Hey, Mara, you have a girlfriend? No, okay. And you started singing Roop Tara Mastana. Okay. And you say that's my hobby. Your singing can't be a hobby. ठीक है ना?
Generally, I can write three things which are in your key. I love to read. Secondly, I love to read novels, or I read novels. Third one can be I love to read fictional novels. And fourth one can be I love to read socially related fictional novels. Which one will be better?
Who has given the options? Who has created the options for you? But have you read any books? What books have you read?
Recently, I am reading Heartland.
Eh?
I have read also
Nee, let me, in last 5 years, tell me 2 books that you have read. Anything. So they are novels. They are novels. Okay. So if you have read it actually, that means you have read novels. So you say, I have read novels. That's all. If they ask you details about novel, what read you say, okay, you say. So your hobby should be, okay, reading in bracket novels. That's all. Don't commit yourself much more beyond this. You may be asked a question, may not be asked a question. Right? Kali pachal acha it's a novel. Can you tell me which novel you have read? So you say, I have read these 2-3 novels. Matter simple. Time permits, they'll tell you, acha, can you tell me something about Premchand's this particular thing? Thak, 3-4 points. And then you are wasting time. If you have read, you are prepared it. Because tame nije lecture novel. Auke likhini. Point that I want to highlight is, whatever writing you are writing in your own hand is something you are committing yourself. Okay. So be very, very particular. Don't write just like it. But if you write too many of these options, You yourself will not know how to answer at that time. Kyoda teda thiba, some English literary professor basthiba, okay, you don't know. Se pachar dabo teda mada question. That you finished. Ete badhiya karthibo, se tarko, hey, eta kisi jani faltu likhi dechi. Endi huandi sabu. That's what they give you comments. Let me tell you this. Okay, so don't put yourself in a mud, jaha kahanti. କାଦୁଅରେ କେବେ ଲେଖା ନିଜେ ଲେଖିକି କାଦୁଅରେ ପରିବ ନାହିଁ ନାହିଁ କିଛି ଅସୁବିଧା ନାହିଁ. We just don't expect you to be absolutely an all-rounder କି ତୁମେ ଗେମ୍ ବି ଖେଳୁଥିବ, ଡିବେଟ୍ ବି କରୁଥିବ, ଗାର୍ଡେନିଂ ବି କରୁଥିବ, ଭଲ କୁକିଂ ବି କରୁଥିବ. ଓକେ, ଆଜିକାଲି ବାହାରୁଛି ସାର୍ ଆଇ ଫଣ୍ଡ ଅଫ୍ କୁକିଂ. ଓକେ, ବୋଲେ ହ୍ୱାଟ୍ ସର୍ଟ ଅଫ୍ କୁକିଂ ୟୁ ଡୁ? ସାର୍ ଆଇ ଡୁ ଇଣ୍ଡିଆନ୍ କୁକିଂ. ନା କ'ଣ କରୁଛ ତୁମେ? ସାର୍ ମୁଁ ରୁଟି କରିଦେଉଛି, ଡାଲି କରିଦେଉଛି. ମୁଁ କହିଲି ଆର୍ ୟୁ ଫଣ୍ଡ ଅଫ୍ କୁକିଂ ଅର୍ ୟୁ ହାଭ୍ ଗଟ୍ ନୋ ଚଏସ୍ ସମ୍ ଟାଇମ୍? ତୁମେ ହଷ୍ଟେଲ ରହୁଥିବ କ'ଣ ରହୁଥିବ? ହଁ ସାର୍ ଆକ୍ଚୁଆଲି ସେ ହେଉଥିଲା ସାର୍, ହେଁ ଆଉ ତ କେହି ନଥିଲେ ମୋତେ ଡାଲି କରିବାକୁ ପଡ଼ୁଥିଲା. ସୋ ଇଟ୍ ଇଜ୍ ନଟ୍ ଅ ହବି. ମୁଁ ଡାଲି ନ କରିଥିଲେ ଭୋକରେ ରହିଥାନ୍ତ ତୁମେ. ହେଁ ହଁ, ସୋ ଇଟ୍ସ ନଟ୍ ହବି. Hobby is something which you enjoy doing at leisure. Okay, sir, I love Indian cooking. Out of this, I make whatever you want to say, veg, non-veg, but be prepared. Suppose you say कि मते मो chicken butter masala भल लगुची. Okay, you will get questions. Now tell me, how do you make chicken butter masala? Actually, I'm telling you, we have asked in UPSC many times. People write this, मुझे hobby बनता है. आप बनाओ. कर. Just tell us the sequence of making chicken butter masala. I was also amazed, many of our interviewing people have now become expert in cooking, though I have never done cooking in my life. Okay, se pachari net ro dekhi achandi ki chicken butter masala kemti karibo. Okay, so be very particular when you write something of this nature. I am fond of cooking. These are very I am fond of cooking, I am fond of gardening, I am fond of singing. These are my hobbies. You actually may be having. Okay, so if you are singing, if you have not gone into some sort of a learned singing process, okay, that's not a hobby. Just singing once in a while in a garden or something is not a hobby. That means you have cultivated something. Okay, you are a casual singer, but that's not a hobby. So that is very, very, we have to if I'm fond of books, that means you have read at least 4-5 books in last 4-5 years. ବର୍ଷରେ ତ ଥରେ ଗୋଟେ ବହି ପଢ଼ିଥିବ, if fond of books. ନାଇଁ ସାର୍ ମୁଁ 5 ବର୍ଷ ଗୋଟେ ବହି ପଢ଼ିଛି, ବଟ୍ ମୋତେ ପଢ଼ିବାକୁ ଭାରି ଭଲ ଲାଗେ. ଆରେ these are two very contradictory statements. ମୋତେ ପଢ଼ିବାକୁ ଭଲ ଲାଗେ, ମାତ୍ର ଲାଷ୍ଟ 5 ବର୍ଷ ଗୋଟେ ବହି ପଢ଼ିଛି. How can it happen? I am fond of books, let me tell you, but even at this age, I read at least one book a month, minimum. That's because of this thing. I don't know if you read the biography of Warren Buffett and all this, Elon Musk and all. All these guys, Elon Musk reads at least 2 books every day. He's so fond of books and he reads and reads. Warren Buffett, Warren Buffett? Berkshire investors? He makes it a point to read a book every day. Can you imagine? Buddha is 90, almost going to be 90 now. He's almost 91, 92 now. He says, every day I read a book. That's his habit. That's his hobby, sorry. And over a period of time, they developed so much of speed in reading that they can complete it. Great intellectual, like Vivekananda, he could read at least 5 books every day. Do you know this? And comprehend most of the things. He was a superman. That's a different issue. Everybody can't be that. But ତମେ ଯଦି ବହି ପଢ଼ିବାକୁ ଇଚ୍ଛା କରୁଛ, for God's sake, at least read one book at least a year. And you can't. ମୁଁ କହିବି ସାର୍ 5 ବର୍ଷରେ ମୁଁ କିଛି ପଢ଼ିନି, ମୁଁ ଗୋଟେ ବହି ପଢ଼ିଛି, but my hobby is reading books. So you'll get low marks. Let me tell you this. So don't write anything which is going to go against you, okay, because of which तुमको कम मार्क मिलेगा. It's a question of number, marks. मैं काली कहूँगी, भाई जहाँ भी करो, be professional. भाई मुझे नंबर मिलना है. 250 में से I must get 180, 190 minimum. Then I have this thing that I'll go to the level of OS. So don't do stupid things by which you can lose 5-10 marks. Ki somebody in the board, it's all a consensus, you know. After you go, we all decide ke pila to kete dabo, 170 ke 180 ke 160. Suddenly na se to kahitla bohita poduchi na ପିଲା 5 ବର୍ଷ ଗୋଟେ ବହି ଗୋଟେ ପଢୁଛି ତାକୁ କ'ଣ ଦେବ ଏଇଟା, ଆଇ ଥିଙ୍କ ଏଇଟା ଏତେ ଭଲ ନାହିଁ, ତ ଏଇଟା କମେଇ ଦିଅ। ଏମିତି ଡିସ୍କସନ୍ ହୁଏ। ଆଇ ଏମ୍ ଗିଭିଂ ୟୁ ପ୍ରାକ୍ଟିକାଲିଟି। 170 ଆଚ୍ଛା ଦେନ୍ ଚେୟାରମ୍ୟାନ୍ ଠିକ୍ ଅଛି ଠିକ୍ ଅଛି। ଆଇ ଥିଙ୍କ ଗୋଟେ ପଏଣ୍ଟ, if he is very fond of reading books, how can it that, you know, he said that, you know, ठीक है 160 कर दो यार। यही 10 मार्क may make difference in your qualification. You getting this point what I tell you? No, I was just trying to give you your assessment marks. I mean, the marks though, how historical things are concerned. Okay. So we just discuss it out. Okay, where does this stand? Somebody says he's around 160, 150. Somebody is 171, so and so. Then the chairman takes a consensus on this issue. Chairman of the board. Chairman of the board may be the member of a commission or a chairman of the commission. Okay. He takes a board. So, age of point what is it? Somebody goes, "No, sir, taku ete ke bhalo laguni because se oda kochi 5 ବର୍ଷ ଗୋଟେ ଦିଟା ବହି ପଢିଛି ଆଉ ଲେଖିଛି କି hobby the reading is very contradictory." I think what a point. I'll give you an example. Okay, this small thing matters in a final assessment. So, what is the point to carry home? Write what is truth. If you're not fond of books, don't write. Ajikali as it is pila padunanti. Okay, but don't write. But if you are writing something, be smart enough to play it up in the interview. Okay, be smart enough. There are people who are very smart enough. I remember somebody told me, say he's a master of experiential spirituality in UPSC. I says, yeah, what is this experiential spirituality? Sir, I experience, when I get into meditation, I experience that I'm floating in this thing and so. So I thought he's putting himself already into mud. Okay. Okay. Now tell me, how do you feel? Do you elevate yourself? No, sir, actually I don't elevate myself, but I feel that I'm actually up in the air. I said, how do you feel? You yourself, you don't elevate, you feel. Sir, I feel as if I'm actually experiencing the whole wisdom and the universe around me and so and so. Okay. So how do you have that thing? How long have you been practicing? Sir, actually last 1 year I've been doing this. So you mean to say in 1 year you have elevated your mind to so much level that you can beat any of those big monks and saints and this and that. Joki barsa they take 25 years, 30 years to reach that level. Regularity. He knew that he went into a mud. Mind you, this one answer of experiential spiritualism was a disaster. So as it is a good guy. I don't recollect whether he has made it or not because normally we don't check after that. But definitely we didn't give him good marks. And because of this, but he thought he'll impress the board writing something on experiential spiritualism. Basically, net is full of all these things, you know, or your ChatGPT or whatever AI that you're using. A lot of things will come out on this. Okay, be natural, be to yourself. Okay, we do understand today's generation of students are not lucky to have very large issues of, you know, things in good schools, etc. Because, and we do know that a lot of people are coming from rural backgrounds and other backgrounds. Okay, so we understand all the dynamics of it. But if you're genuinely fond of the gardening, you're genuinely fond of stamp collection, philately, if you're genuinely fond of a particular hobby per se, okay, please write it. If you don't, please don't put it. Getting my point?
Sir, my question would be, without preference of mentioning the job, and in OPS I have mentioned it in 7th or 6th position, And if they compare both, if class 1 job you're mentioning in the 6th or 7th, what would be my answer?
You say, sir, my preference is not for the police because don't put the gender part, but the fact is that you say, ki, what is the first preference? OA, second?
OFS.
OA, finance, and third?
Revenue.
Revenue service. What's your educational background?
I'm a veterinary doctor.
Veterinary doctor. And optional, what have you taken?
Sociology.
Sociology. Okay. You see, sir, firstly, I'm a doctor, everything's a concern. And I think I'll be able to do a large amount of justice as far as the veterinary services concerned in the country, in the state. Okay, as an administrator. Okay, if I get OS. But maybe I will be able to do equally this thing in the finance service. But I may not be able to contribute my competency and expertise in a police service. Okay, getting my point? How you put across this thing? So you are trying to correlate your competency level to something which the job requires. You say you feel that it may not be. Okay. But then the question comes, there are so many doctors who have joined the IPA police service and so on, so karke. Yes, sir, but then I feel I have to take a call to myself. Because that's so what you've done by giving the answers, you have reinforced the thought process that you are a good decision maker. Many times you can play around with your answers to impress the board that you got some good qualities in you. You don't have to succumb to everything. Na sir, apan kohtu thik achi. Okay, na thik achi. Ki mu government ode policy ha kali to thik achi. Semti kichhi nahi. Okay, but give a point of view. Don't be critical of government policies because you are going to be government servants. Okay, and nothing happens, everything good in a government, in any organization for that matter. Everything right? Tell me. Doesn't happen.
So your line, basic principle of administration is same everywhere.
Eh?
Yesterday you said the basic principle of administration is same.
Yeah, everywhere for that matter, whether it is family or your school, your college, among so and so, you are a group of class school go back. Because sabu pila bhal thile. Doesn't happen. You can't find all teachers good. You can't find all schools good. This doesn't follow the law of nature. Law of nature says that kichuda kharab thibo, kichuda bhalo thibo. Largely bhalo tha, kichuda kharab tha, but bhalo institutions man kare. Similarly, government of kisa thibo. Or maybe your perception is incorrect. You don't know the background of this particular thing. Okay. So this is how you have to develop your own argument. Any other question?
Can we say that OPSC gave us the privilege to OPSC gave us the privilege to choose, right to choose, so that as per my preference I choose this thing. Can we say?
See, forget about whether OPSC gave you the privilege to this thing. You are taking a call. And when you take a call, though we all know that at this age, people just write and they say UPSC, IAS, IPS, IPS, so and so. Here also people write OAS, OPS, vagara, so and so. Okay, people do write it. Okay, they are very common choices where things are concerned. But you say, sir, I have said, why you want to join OAS? Is that I find the civil services primarily, okay, is administration which is handled by the administrative service. But then other forms of administrations also there in terms of finance, in terms of revenue service, in terms of police service, and so on so. So I'll be happy if I'll be lucky if I get selected to OS, but that is not that I'll not contribute in other forms of civil services. They're all part of civil services. Okay. So don't come out with this theosophical that, okay, the OPS is given the privilege and this and that. It's your call. Okay. Sir, I have basically opted to join the civil service because I want to join the OS. But for some reason I don't come into the merit and I get some other service. I'll make one more attempt to come to OS. Okay? Or I will serve that particular service whichever is suiting me. Okay. Yeah. What else? No, it's not going to impact. It's not going to impact.
Without giving any answer, we might become blank or any particular name or any particular thing might not be remembered by us in that time. So what we should do in that particular time?
Don't do anything. Okay. There is not a single candidate I have not seen in my life who has at some point or the other not gone blank. They will not tell you. Asla pore. So kanti jo already badhiya hoichi. Okay. Topper heavy mo ekatha. But se kete thora blank ito God only knows. Okay. So now coming to your question is, yes, when you get blank is that sometimes you do not know the answer that of a particular question. You are thinking about it. So, but don't think beyond a particular level. Okay, if you think that, okay, you are going to take time to think, okay, sir, I do not know the answer completely. Can you give me a little time to think? Ask for time. Okay, there is no harm. You just think about it. Doesn't matter, because we all know you are appearing for an examination. We all know your mindset. But you don't get nervous. Sometimes be frank. Ki, sir, actually that thing is not coming to my mind. Asuchi, but mohuk asuni. You do understand this thing. So I am not getting the correct this thing. If you permit me, can I go to the next point? And they akhir thia kare boss jibani city. Ki, sir, mate se gote point asuni kari na. Asuni, maro goli usko. Okay, go to the next point. ठीक है? Is all dramatics. Is all art. Let me tell you, interview over a period of time.
Switching of words from English to Odia for 1 or 2 words.
You can do that. There's nothing wrong. Jodi tame taru jani parloni English ta. Okay, हाँ. Yes, it does matter.
Then what exactly is he or she expecting? Like his contribution towards the country or state, or
Obviously.
or
Firstly, contribution towards the state. Okay, supposing I ask you, tell me what has been the contribution of see, those are cult figures for which there will be many things. They will not ask you what is the contribution of Narendra Modi or Jawaharlal Nehru or so on and so forth, because there are many contributions. They might in the prelims and the mains or in the interview, though they're created for interview, but actually they help in all the 3 stages of examination. So if those attributes are developed at early stage when you join this, one of the major things of coaching institute is that when you are here for a year, try to be smart enough to develop your personality. Okay, see what is deficit in you, what is the strength in you, how to develop. They are all scientific, let me tell you this. They are all scientific. So, we have, it's not that, no examination is foolproof. Even there are deficiencies in examination systems. Let's forget about that, not for you to know about it at this stage. For at this stage, especially those guys who are qualified, is that how exactly you must clear the interviews. All those people who are new and trying to move into the ladder, okay, try to understand the whole game and start developing these small attributes in yourself. Okay. So even if you start with this small attribute, this top 5 attributes which I just told you, from here will flow down a lot of things. Your power of comprehension, okay, actually leads to your cognitive ability. Your power expression is related to logical reasons, your effective reasons, okay, your reasoning ability and logical abilities. They are the things which comes out in this. They are all offshoots. I'm just giving you front. Okay. Any of you who have appeared for a service selection board for the defense? Anybody? SSB? No. Thank God you're not. Otherwise, there are 15 qualities, let me tell you, to look for a guy. The UPSC's IS has got 7, they've got 15 qualities, and each of these qualities are assessed in depth. And there is a technique to evaluate all these qualities. Because people who go for selection there, they go for 5 days, mind you. SSB selection is 5 days. They absolutely rip you apart to check out a personality. So, but that's a job requirement of the defense. That's why they invest so much of time in getting the guys there. Okay. I was also the chairman of the service selection board, so I know what it is like. Allahabad. Okay. So, so that's a different game plan altogether. Okay. But the fact is that if you prepare early for anything, then you are always a winner. But notwithstanding the guys who have recently qualified, okay, I'm sure you'll do well. And if you have any other question, you can ask me. Otherwise, the normal thing, good morning, sir, good morning, ma'am. If the chairman is a member, it's better to say good morning, ma'am, good morning, sirs. The chairman is always to be addressed first. That's a protocol. No, you can greet the chairman first. Yeah. No, if it's a male, say good morning, sir. Don't say good morning, ma'am. Yes. Because you are looking at the chairman first, and then you are looking right, and you are looking at left. So don't look at the chairman. If it's a male, say good morning, ma'am. ऐसा मत बताना.
So there is no concept of madam, sir. Because there was a movie on the life of Sam Bahadur, sir. So he used to address
No, don't take that as a precedent. Okay, that's a different issue. Okay, but in an interview where you are being assessed, the correct protocol is that you have to address sir and ma'am. Okay, that is absolutely different. This thing. They had a different relationship. They were relations also because from the pastor's side. So that's why he could take the liberty of calling her Hindu. So that's a different issue. But don't go by movies and all this, and they'll land you in wrong places. Okay, and that Maneksha could do and get away with it. Not that any other chief could have done it, because they had a different family relationship also. Okay, and some personality relationship. That's a different one. But the correct thing is that sir and ma'am. नहीं, don't keep repeating good morning, good morning, good morning, ऐसे मत बोलो, ठीक है ना? Let's say good morning sir, good morning ma'am, that's all. Okay. I know your doubt कि सर चार जन पांच जन good morning कहया दरकार, जड़ों को न मिले तो मार दबोनी पुनी. No, that's not the fear. कि से कि मते एटा good morning कहलानी, सेमती नहीं. Okay, just say good morning sir, good morning ma'am. Okay. Yes, you must make as much as possible. Firstly, the person who asks you the question, first look at him, okay, and then rotate your head and answer everybody. Okay, let's take, I'm the chairman, but there's a question which comes from the member on the wing. Okay, you look at him, but when you come back to answering, you have to address the board. Question may come from one of the members, but you are addressing the board, answering the board. Okay. We should be
You should be give answer more or you should be confident more.
confident. No, obviously we'll be answering more. Confidence is a part of the, if you are not confident, you can't answer also. Getting your point? Confidence is given out by, it's something inner quality, you know, which gets manifested in different forms. Okay, that's a separate subject by itself of how to develop self-confidence, right? But the fact is that you come there to answer. जो बोलोगे जहाँ कहबे ताबे तो नंबर मिलिबो ना. Confidence देखले कौन हो किछ होनी. Okay. There are some guys who come. Oh, sir, especially guys from top college schools and colleges, and I've seen in Delhi University and sir, I am from St. Stephen's, sir, and so on, so sir. Okay. ताको अंग्रेजी सब change है सब उठके. Okay. So ताको गोटे मिनट we bring them now to Mother Earth. ठीक है? Okay, हाँ. Obviously, you should be absolutely sitting. Okay, don't make too many gestures. Okay.
Can you take some pauses like 3-second pauses?
Yes, you must take. Must take pauses for everybody. Okay, ଯଦି question ଟା ପଚରା ହେଲା, you don't have to immediately reply. Number one. Also, you don't have to reply to all the questions. Let me tell you this. If you don't know a full answer to a particular thing, you say, sir, can I have the next question? I don't have the full answer to it. Don't ever feel guilty कि मुझे यार answer जानी नहीं. Get your point? So you say, okay, can I have, sir, I don't have the full answer to it. Can I have the next question, please? Simple. 10? Yes. Don't even say 10 seconds, 5 seconds. Don't put yourself into that much of a restriction. So can I take a little time to think? That time may be maximum 2 to 10 seconds or something. Not beyond that. Now you are sitting there and you will go to sleep only. So put Huh?
Can we beg, sir, I would like to beg to differ from the my Mr.
Yes. It happens that you may differ, but then using the word that I beg to differ, you may use words like that, sir, you are absolutely right in your point of views, but I think if at all it is approached in this particular direction or the thought process thinking direction, or so I happen to read a book on so and so, wherein the author has got this much amount of views, so I thought it appropriate if I can share the views of the particular author, if things are concerned. As a candidate, don't start getting into a fist with the member. He said, I differ with you. He will make you totally differ then. ठीक है ना? हाँ, एक और नहीं. Okay. Firstly, there was a lot of this thing when she laughed this thing that as long as possible, don't say this word differ at all. ठीक है? You may be differing. तापरे इंटरव्यू सरला पर जाके शोधी दियो ठीक है छाड़ दियो फालतू पचार दियो मतलब ओके you had no knowledge of it, that's it. At your age, obviously you got to scold us, ऐसा थोड़ी है. Okay, हमें तो तमो बयस थुलु हमें वैसा करथुलु. Okay, that's not the issue. What I'm trying to tell you is that it is what words and what language you use to particularly differ. Okay, Because when you say, ki, sir, I differ, what is happening is there is emotion working in you. Okay. There is also a quality that you see in you, your emotional quotient. Okay. And this sort of thing, getting angry and telling, sir, I differ from you. Okay. Is not a very emotionally balanced response. Okay. This can happen in some other field, context. Emotion is what? Is always contextual in nature. Okay, it's always contextual in nature. Supposing Kali, tomorrow you are going with a sister and somebody teases her or does something. Getting angry is a very reasonable emotion state. You just can't say, okay, somebody teases your sister and you say, oh, hota rehta hai. That's not a correct emotional state, because there is an element of protectiveness as a brother to a particular sister. So a correct emotion is that you need to protect your sister. So that emotion of anger, but how to convey that anger is a different one. But the fact is that that's a different this thing. You are in an interview where people are grilling you, people are asking you questions, okay, to assess you, to give you numbers. Okay, so this is the situation. So your aim is that how convincingly I put across this point of view. Sometimes for good candidates, let me tell you, some secret, we knowingly make you angry. Just to check your emotional resilience. How do you say you are good in, you say moving 160, 150, but tomorrow when you become an administrator, you will be faced with so much adversities. कि गोटे पॉलिटिशियन आसी गाड़ी दे पड़ेबो कि गोटे आसी तो ये करदेव ओके कि गोटे राति अधर फोन करिवो सर एटा हेनी एटा कौन करछन आपण सब ओके यू आर ऑन पब्लिक सर्विस ना द एंड ऑफ द डे यू आर डीलिंग विथ पब्लिक एंड यू कांट ले रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस ऑन पब्लिक कार कत रागी जब कौन है कार एनी सॉर्ट ऑफ यू आर इन डिस्ट्रिक्ट एनी सॉर्ट ऑफ प्रॉब्लम्स कम इन सो वी से कि अच्छा ये पिलाटा को जब हम ओएस को नबा के व्हाट इज हिज इमोशनल रेजिलियंस what is the adaptability to the situation. So we knowingly provoke you. If you fall into the trap, then you don't get OS, then you get something else. Very much. So sometimes you find, so don't get perturbed at all on the board at all, because you don't know in what angle they are asking you. They are basically provoking you to find some personality traits in you which are better than others. And a better than others is what? You don't get provoked under any amount of sensationalism, which takes place. You don't respond. You know, your response should be balanced under any provocation. So this is what we look into, those qualities in an administrator. But if I am to recruit you as a soldier or an army officer, something, obviously I would like you to respond with anger, with emotions. I require people with high emotional state. Not that I've told somebody to go and attack that particular feature and you are reasoning with me, sir, seti gala kon labha habo, kon darkar. We don't require people of this nature there. We require people of obedience, discipline and so on. So there are different emotional states of people. Because the answer is that you are appearing for interview when civil services interview. You are going to be a civil servant with large amount of responsibilities. Okay, where decision making with balance of mind is a very important thing. So sometimes you are provoked intentionally, you may not do this thing. Okay, so don't get into a difference from your end. Okay, you may have a different opinion. How does it matter? Who doesn't have a different opinion? I may be saying everything to you. Many of you may not be with the point that I am trying to tell you. You may have still different opinions on it, not necessarily. But then you are sitting and absorbing, see if I can get something from sir who is going to help me in my test, because your aim is to clear an examination. Yes or no? Konna, what's your name? Eh? Deva Sharma Das. Okay, good. Chalo, any other question?
today's government ministers are taking stand against that 1976 decision taken by Mr. Indira Gandhi. Then should we take the like side of today's government, or should we be like diplomatical there, or we just give our views, suggestion, or whatever? Like
See, if both are government,
we everyone Indira Gandhi, today it is Tamil Nadu, they are suffering from the due to Sri Lanka benefits and all. And that's a major issue because Sri Lanka government and Indian government are like they're working on that to on every meeting, and then now and then all the time it's on the news itself. So,
see, listen, if some decision was taken at some point of time, 30, 40, 50 years back, okay, by the government, it was based upon certain inputs and reasonable rationale at that point of time. Today, for different reasons, people may criticize it. Forget about parliament. Don't get into it. As a student appearing for an examination, you are expected to have a very balanced judgment. In fact, balance of judgment is also a quality laid down by the UPSC. And if you see this thing. And what is the balance of judgment is that you hear one thing, you hear another thing. Okay, you try to evaluate both. Okay, from your perspective. And then you make your call. That's what we expect you to do. When there are two things which, what you hear in parliament and this, there must be a lot of politicking which is going on. But the fact is, if some decision has been taken by a particular government in the past, okay, and another decision will be taken by this government in the past, both are government decisions which are based on certain amount of rationales. The question is that whether the rationale of the day at that time, was it correct or not, whether it's correct this or not. So this is where there is also a quality that you will start looking at analytical abilities. So you have to analyze things. So this decision was based upon this thing. My analysis is this. This decision based upon my analysis is this. Okay, right? Now it's a question of debatable. If it is too controversial, okay, so you just leave it there. So I think there are decisions which has been taken in certain inputs. Okay, if you ask me which is good or bad, I may still say that this is a better decision which has come now because of the following reasons. But don't ever say that this is a bad decision. See, there are two ways of looking at it. Gote kohibo this is a good decision, but not saying that this is a bad decision. That decision was taken based upon inputs at that point of time. Maybe on a retrospective, you are finding this is incorrect. But I can't say that decision taken at that point of time was bad. Because nobody ever takes a bad decision at that point of time, at a government level. It all depends upon decision. Okay, inputs at that point of time. If tomorrow Nehru could not take a decision to mobilize troops for 1962 operations, there were too many inputs which you didn't get at that time. Okay, yes, it's a bad decision at that point of time. But to tell in an interview that it's a bad decision by the Prime Minister, then Prime Minister, may not be an appropriate answer. What you should say is that as the Prime Minister, possibly he did not get the right amount of political inputs and military inputs for him to take a decision. You see the difference in this thing, Kariki? The moment you use bad words, say kharab kala, ye kala, it sends negativity in the system. I told you what? Your interview is nothing but an art. It's a feeling. There is nothing science about it. Okay, it's all how you handle the whole situations. If you can make the interview happy, okay, you get good marks. Okay, chalo. Thank you very much, all of you. See, these are all long, this thing, what's the time now? Oh, later I've got to go for a dinner.